In his final years, the legendary physicist Stephen Hawking, along with his collaborator Thomas Hertog, put forward one last, really profound theory. It's an idea that tries to solve one of the biggest mysteries in all of science by basically turning our whole understanding of the universe inside out. And it all kicks off with one simple, kinda unsettling observation. It starts right here, with this powerful thought from Hawking himself. When we look out at the cosmos, when we look at the fundamental rules that make everything tick, it all seems a little too perfect. You know, it's almost as if the whole thing was set up just for us. And that, of course, leads to the one question that has just bugged physicists for decades. Why? Why are the laws of physics so perfectly, so exquisitely fine-tuned for life to exist? Are we just incredibly lucky, or is there something much, much deeper going on? So, to really get what Hawking's final theory is all about, we first have to wrap our heads around the puzzle he was trying to solve. And it's a huge cosmological mystery known as the fine-tuning problem. This right here is the heart of it. Our cosmic setup is unbelievably fragile. Imagine you could just reach in and tweak the dials of the universe. If you turned the dial for magnetism just a tiny bit, stars wouldn't even form. If you tweaked the mass of an electron, you wouldn't get stable atoms. The result isn't just a slightly different universe, it's a completely dead one. So, how in the world do you explain this incredible luck? Well, for a long time now, the most popular answer has been a really mind-bending idea that takes us way beyond our own cosmic backyard. The multiverse theory. The basic idea is that our universe isn't the only one. Instead, it's just one bubble in this infinite cosmic foam of other universes. And if there are endless universes out there, each with its own random set of physical laws, well, then it's not so surprising that one like ours exists. It's just statistics. We just happen to be in the one where the conditions were right for us to be here, asking the question. But for Hawking and Hertog, this explanation just didn't sit right. They called it outrageous. Not because it's a weird idea, but because it felt like a scientific cop-out. You're inventing an infinite number of universes we can never see just to explain our own. It's a theory you can never actually test. They saw it as this external, God's eye view that didn't really explain anything specific about why our universe is the way it is. And this slide really nails the difference. It's all about perspective. The multiverse theory takes this God's eye view, like it's looking down on all possible realities from the outside. Hawking's final theory says, no way, that's impossible. It argues we have to start from the inside, from our own observer's view, because our existence isn't just some lucky accident, it's a fundamental piece of the puzzle. Okay, so this view from the inside, it leads to a totally new way of thinking about where we came from. It's an approach that flips traditional cosmology completely on its head. This quote just brilliantly sums up their whole idea. For centuries, physics has been trying to get this purely objective picture of reality, right? As if we were angels just floating outside of it, taking notes. But Hawking argued that's just the wrong way to go about it. Our existence inside the system isn't some detail to ignore. It has to be part of our physical theories from the very beginning. So they proposed something you could almost call a Darwinian approach to cosmology. What if the laws of physics aren't these eternal, fixed truths written in stone? What if they actually evolved? Maybe in the super hot chaos of the early universe, different physical laws were competing, and only some of them survived. And from where we are now, all we can do is look backward and try to reconstruct the one unique tree of law that led to us. Now that is a radical idea. I mean, if the laws of physics evolved, then what happens when we rewind the movie of our universe all the way back to the Big Bang? What was there at the very start? While today we see all these different forces and laws, but physicists know that as we rewind the clock towards the Big Bang, those forces start to merge and unify into something simpler. Hawking and Hertog argued that this process goes all the way, back to the very beginning, where the ideas of physical law, of space, and even of time itself just completely dissolve into this sea of pure quantum fuzziness. And this leads to an absolutely profound takeaway. The Big Bang wasn't just some event that happened inside a pre-existing set of rules. It was the origin of the rules themselves. The laws didn't exist before the universe began. They popped into existence right along with it. Okay, I know this might be sounding more like philosophy than physics, but it's actually connected to a real and seriously weird concept called the holographic principle. Think about the hologram on your credit card. It's a flat, 2D surface, but it holds all the information to project a 3D image. The holographic principle suggests our whole universe might be like that. Our 3D reality, including time itself, might just be a projection emerging from some simpler, timeless 2D surface. This gives us a totally new way to picture our origin. In this view, going back to the Big Bang, isn't about reaching a point in time. It's about reaching the edge of that holographic surface. It's the boundary where the information that projects our reality just runs out. It's the point where cause and effect, where law and where time itself simply fade away. So, what does this wild new vision of the cosmos mean for our ultimate quest to understand everything? Well, it suggests something that is both incredibly humbling and deeply profound about the limits of what science can do. I love this quote from the poet François Jacquemin because it just perfectly captures the shift in thinking here. The theory suggests that in trying to figure out the origin of the universe, we're forced to confront the origin of the very questions we're asking. So in this new framework, asking what came before the Big Bang is literally a meaningless question. Time itself emerged from the Big Bang. There was no before. It's kind of like asking what the laws of biology were before life existed. The question itself just doesn't make sense. All right, let's just pull this all together. What Hawking's final theory is really saying is that our universe's laws aren't some eternal truth. They grew up with the universe. Our perspective from the inside isn't a problem to solve. It's a core feature. And this implies something huge. There might be fundamental built-in limits to what we can know. Not because we're not smart enough, but because the universe itself has boundaries on what is knowable. And that leaves us with one last, really provocative thought to chew on. For a century, physicists have been chasing a theory of everything. But what if the ultimate triumph of science isn't some single equation that explains all of reality, but a deeper understanding of why that kind of ultimate, outside explanation might not even be possible?